I'm Dr. Stephanie Wigner, and I wanted to talk to you about scaling multiple brick and mortar locations. So if you don't know who I am a chiropractor by trade, was my first passion, my first profession, and my husband and I own 5 health and wellness clinics on the East Coast. Now, since then, I went on to grow a coaching company called the Wealthy Practitioner, where we help service-based practitioners explode their businesses and then remove themselves in the process as CEO so that they can enjoy the fruits of their labor, so that they can have more time, more fun, more family time, more freedom, more experiences, and actually make a bigger impact. And so one of the questions I often get asked is, Steph, how do I know when it's time to open another location? And so I thought it would be fun if I took you back all the way to 2017 when we went from 1 clinic to 2 clinics and then on to 5 clinics in present time, in tell you a little bit about what that process has looked like, what I wish somebody would have told me when I was starting scaling clinics, because I definitely didn't do it the right way or follow a blueprint. And so I want to share some of those lessons with you, as well as prepare you and let you get a sneak peek and like a behind the scenes peek at what is actually required if you want to open multiple locations. So first, I would encourage you, before you scale past 1 location, are you ready? What is your readiness level? So one thing that I like my clients to do is to be profiting $25K a month, profiting, not collecting, profiting $25K a month after expenses are paid, after team is paid, after you are paid, so that you have a buffer when you go to diversify. One thing I know to be absolutely true is when you divert your focus to building something new, to building the next thing, your first thing is going to be compromised if you do not have the right people in place, if you do not have the right infrastructure, the right systems, the right financial metrics in place. And so when you have $25K of profit left over every month, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, okay? The next thing I want you to ask yourself is, am I removed? So if your first location is constantly depending on you to operate, it might not be the best time to go out and start another one. If you are 80% removed from day-to-day operations, you have a clinic director in place, you have an office manager in place, you have a COO in place, then it makes sense for you to go and diversify your attention, diversify your effort, because you should already have a lot of free time at that point, and then you can go and use all of that energy, all of that time you have to building the next thing. Am I also ready and willing to be in startup mode again? Now, I don't know about you, but I very much so underestimated how much we would be in startup mode opening the second location. So when I personally went from 1 location to 2 locations, I opened a satellite clinic. And so we can talk a little bit about that too. Your main location is one way of doing it, and then opening a second location is maybe 15, 20 minutes away where your overflow goes. That's 1 team operating amongst that. That is 1 EHR system, that is 1 marketing channel, 1 Instagram, 1 LLC. It is very much so 1 business operating out of 2 locations. That's how I first went from 1 to 2. There's perks to that in the fact that your overhead stays lower. The only added expense is like your operating expenses as far as like rent and utilities and things like that, because you're still using the same software and things like that. You have to be mindful though that you, depending on whether you take insurance or not, there's other things that you have to have in place for that, okay? If you are going to full blown start another location, say it's an hour or more away, you're going to have all of the same operating expenses that you have in clinic 1. So you're gonna have new team, you're gonna have new systems, you're going to have new EHRs, you're going to have new marketing expenses. Everything that you're putting into clinic 1 is going to be required for clinic 2. You're going to have a separate LLC. There's also, once you start to add more LLCs, there's more expenses that come with that, as far as like paying an accountant, paying a bookkeeper, adding it onto your tax return, things like that I didn't necessarily know ahead of time. So I'm trying to share it with you now. Okay. When you look at it and you look at diversifying your locations, make sure you know, is this a satellite or is this a separate business altogether? Okay. Do I have a trusted leader in place that can handle things while I'm gone? If you answer yes to $25K a month, I'm removed, I'm ready to be back up in the grind, and I have a trusted leader in place, then the answer is yes, let's do it. Okay. However, let's talk about how we went from 2 to 5, because that was a whole different journey inside of our lives. I want to paint the timeline for you a little bit on how we went from 2 to 5, okay? So, "2016 was number 1. 2017 was number 2. This was a satellite. 2018 was number 3. I was operating the first 2. My husband started the third. In 2020, I have to think about it. What was it? 2023, we did number 4, which was also my husband. And then at the end of 2025, we did clinic number 5, which was our first partnership. Now, a few things. This operated as one clinic. This operated as a separate clinic. Where we complicated this is that I have a completely different brand and ideal client than my husband does. He has a completely different operating system, a completely different structure to his business, a completely different brand. And so although we were scaling locations, we weren't doing it through brand reputation or brand equity. So that made it very hard. Each time we went back into the startup phase, which I think can be avoided if you're building inside of the same brand. You already have brand reputation. You already have all your marketing assets, your logos, your fonts, your colors, all stuff like that. We were starting over from scratch each time. When we went from clinic 3 to 4, it was the same brand, but a separate entity in a separate location that was about 45 minutes away. Okay. So this is one LLC. This is another LLC. This is another LLC. The reason that we separated out those LLCs at that time from clinic 3 to 4 was because we wanted the opportunity, should it arise, to sell off one location. Okay, that's much easier to do when they're separate entities. You're keeping track of separate expenses. And currently we still have these clinics, but we at least know that we're set up in a way that that can be a possibility in the future. Now, again, when we went to clinic 5, because we have a partnership on this clinic, it's a different brand. And so we went right back up into startup phase. But the reason we did this is because in the future, this might be a franchisable brand. It might be something when we took everything we learned from clinic 1 through 4. This is the same ideal client, the same type of clinic as 3 and 4. So we already had that in place. We already had the infrastructure. And truly, when we set out to build clinic number 5 last year, we did it through the lens of, let's take all the lessons that we've learned through clinic 1 and 4 and make sure that we avoid the pains that we had in clinic 5. So when we created this brand, we knew that we wanted it to be scalable. We thought about that in terms of the name, in terms of the way that it's structured, also in terms of back end, like marketing and CRM. This has the most thorough marketing CRM that we have because of everything that we've learned about marketing since we started in 2016. I'll be honest, I had no idea what I was doing in 2016 when I was opening a clinic. I just literally put my name out front and was like, hey, I'm open for business. I have learned a lot over the last 10 years. And so we've applied that to the clinics that we are opening at scale as well. Here's the thing. Going from 3 to 4 clinics almost broke us. Like literally, I cannot stress that enough because my husband, inside of this third clinic, we did it, even though he was removed from patient care, he was still extremely responsible for the day-to-day operations. We had another provider in there, so that helped. But all of the ideas, we didn't have the correct systems and the SOPs and the processes in place to be able to remove his thinking power as he went and started clinic number 4. Inside of the first 12 months in clinic number 4, we had team out for deaths in the family. We had team out for a severe back injury. One of our key employees broke her back, literally had to have massive rehabilitation because she was pregnant. She couldn't have surgery. And so right when she came back, she also went out on maternity leave. So it was just tough. It was tough. We also, in that same year, lost our nanny, and I was starting a podcast. I was starting the Wealthy Practitioner. So there was just a lot happening. And we swore in 2023, we're never going to open another clinic, just to be honest. I don't want you to think it's all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine because it has not been. We've learned a lot along the way. And so Due to the personal things that we went through in 2023, it also made it really hard. You can see we were getting in a rhythm and then we recalibrated. We had a son, our family dynamics shifted, a lot of things changed. Then we opened the fourth one and the plan was to open another one shortly after that. We took a pause, about a 2.5-year pause in between that. Made sure that we found a partner too. The reason we decided to do a partnership is because we didn't want all of the responsibility of the operating day to day. Truthfully, we were fine to invest the money. We were fine to be the financial backing, to be like the advisory board, to be more of a silent partner and have an operating partner in the day to day that could handle things like team, payroll, systems, clients, things like that, that took that off of us because we obviously already have a lot going on in addition to the coaching company. The way that we have scaled has been through sheer grit and determination. I'm not going to lie about that. Nothing has really been easy about this process, but I truly believe when you're building a brick and mortar brand, you can literally live the life of your dreams. You can absolutely make a lot of money, make a big impact, have freedom. If you do it the right way, you do not have to be in your practice or your business every single day. You can have the right people in place, and that is what we are focusing on. So most recently, I'll give you a little up to date. This partnership's going great. Most recently, we've brought on a partner for Clinic 3 and 4 as a COO. She's now the operating partner. She is the one in charge of both of those clinics. And we are able to be removed just a little bit more from that. That's a new development, probably in the last 3 to 4 months. And we have went through a lot of team transitions in the first 2 clinics. We only have 1 doctor in those clinics right now. And so we are just navigating new team, new infrastructure and things like that. If I was going to build a new brick and mortar from the start up in 2026, I would absolutely make sure that I had team ready in place. I would not try and do it where I was the one. Right now, in present time, I have several clients expanding to multiple locations, and that's the same advice I'm giving them. Do not open a second location with you having to be there. It is going to increase your overhead right away, having a fully staffed team, but it allows for quicker growth. It allows you to stay in the CEO role where you can go out and do the networking and the marketing and the lead acquisition, where the team is just there ready to serve whoever's coming in. And so if this was helpful, I have a tool for you that I just created. It's called the Practice Scaling Assessment. I'm going to drop it in the links below. Here's the thing. This Practice Scaling Assessment has been utilized amongst all of our clinics as well as my coaches' clinics at TWP. So it's been used inside of like 14 clinics. What this tool does is it assesses where your practice is at based on the 5 pillars that we teach inside of the Wealthy Practitioner. So that is finance, that's marketing, that's systems, that's team, and then it's you as the CEO. How are you operating on a daily basis? We score you, we diagnose you, if you will, on a scale of 0 to 100% on how you're operating inside of each of those pillars. Not only does the tool assess you, it then takes all of that data and it presents you with the 3 levers that you can pull inside of your practice right now to create momentum. A lot of times when I'm talking to clients, they don't necessarily understand where their time and attention and focus should go to make the biggest impact. It's exactly why I created this tool. Outside of that, once you dive into the tool, you get your thorough PDF with all of your results, the things you need to move on. We give you access to our proprietary AI tool for 7 days to coach you on what to do through the implementation process. Our clients rave about this tool. It's an incredible tool. It's an incredible resource. Everybody at my clinics also uses this resource. And this AI is on demand. You can talk to it 24 hours a day if you really wanted to. Some of our clients do. And it's going to support you as you start to implement those 3 levers. So if you're interested in that, click the link below. It is by far the most valuable resource we have created at the Wealthy Practitioner. And if you like videos like this, where I break down my journey, where I tell you what worked and what didn't work, then let us know in the comments so we can create more.